All right, everybody, welcome in to another episode of the NFL Seekers podcast. Today, we'll be previewing and predicting week 18 of the NFL season. It's the last week of the season. It's surreal saying it, honestly. We're almost at the playoff pick'ems, and then we got a lot of draft content coming. So really excited to kind of get into the new season. And yeah, I have five more picks than you in our picks this year. So we're really tight. You won picks last week. I think you've won like the last few weeks. So you're slowly catching up, and you're gonna have to make some bold picks this week as your last ditch effort to pass me up.
Yeah, I have to talk myself into a lot of different things, seeing what you did. And I have to truly make myself believe so I can catch up. It's only five, so I'm gonna be a little bit more bold this episode, but I like it and we'll see what happens. It's the Picks Championship this weekend, so a lot on the line, a lot riding on this one.
Yeah, it's crazy how close we are. We both honestly did like insanely good. Our records are like 3-1. We got like 75% on the year. So we did really good. We'll start it off. We'll just get right into the previews. We got a lot of games to get into. We'll start it on Saturday morning, I guess. The Steelers are gonna go into Baltimore and play the Ravens, and the Steelers are 4-point road favorites. And this one's Mason Rudolph versus Tyler Huntley. So it looks like the Ravens will be kind of benching most of their starters. They're locked into that number one seed. So it's kind of in their best interest to just get healthy and get into that playoff game healthy. I don't know though. I do know that if you get 2 weeks off, if you get that first round bye and you take this week 18 off, it definitely can be bad on your just like you don't want to be flat in the week or round two of the playoffs. So it will be an interesting decision. I do think the Steelers kind of go into Baltimore and do get the win. They have to win to make the playoffs. So it's essentially win and in for the Steelers. I think they have a little bit more to play for. So I will go with Mason Rudolph over Tyler Huntley, but I think it's going to be really competitive.
Yeah, this is one that I'm gonna ride the little bit more bold side of it, and in this I just kind of have to do a little explanation. Me and Danny will not be doing fantasy picks this week because fantasy football is over. So shout out to everyone who won their fantasy leagues. If you had some Ravens players, might have helped you out. But yeah, we will not be doing a fantasy picks this week because fantasy season is over. But yeah, this is one. Back on topic. This is one that I have to be a little bit bold on this week. And I genuinely talk myself into believing the Ravens backups are better than the Steelers starters. I think the Steelers are a fraudulent team. I don't think they should be in the playoffs. And I think the Ravens are honestly just going to ruin their playoff dreams here. And Tyler Huntley came in last season, proved that he can win. He led the Ravens to the playoffs essentially with Lamar Jackson hurt a lot of last season, and so Tyler Huntley has game experience. I mean, he's a mobile quarterback like Lamar Jackson. He'll fit the scheme of the offense. They don't have to change it too much. And Mike McDonald has this defense playing freaky, and they have key core depth pieces. And in my opinion, I think they're going to make Mason Rudolph uncomfortable tonight. Uncomfortable enough to make him turn over the ball, and I think that'll be the difference. So I'm going to ride with the Ravens, and I'm going to be a little bold on this one, in the sense of I think their backups will beat the Steelers starters.
Yeah, I mean, week 18 is always so hard. I really don't know what Ravens players are playing on defense. There are definitely some players that are on that defense that would scare me from picking the Steelers for sure. So it is really hard. We don't really know who's exactly playing for the Ravens. And like you said, we're not going to really do fantasy football takeaways because there's no fantasy this week. And I don't think we're really going to do any betting takeaways this week either. Not really any betting plays. But if I do have one, I am pretty confident that George Pickens hits his over this week. The Steelers will be having to play for everything. They're going to be needing to play really hard, and he's kind of on a tear. So if I'm confident in really anything all off or all weekend, it's that George Pickens has a good game. So yeah, I would take his overs. I wouldn't really bet on anything else. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to cover in this game? It's kind of hard.
Now it's week 18. Not a lot to talk about. This is our last, game previews till next year. So it's kind of crazy. But yeah, week 18 is week 18. It's just a strange week.
Yeah, strange week. This will be a really good game. I would tune into this one. I think the Ravens are going to play really competitive, no matter who they have out there. So we'll go on to the Saturday night football game. The 9-7 Texans are going to go into Indy and play the 9-7 Colts, who have a pretty good home field advantage. The Texans are 1.5 point home, or sorry, a road favorites. And yeah, this one's going to be on Saturday night. I think Stroud kind of goes out there and has a pretty good passing performance. The Colts kind of dominated the Texans the first time they played, but that was really earlier in the season. Anthony Richardson started that game, so I'm interested to see how this goes. But I'm just going to get my pick out of the way. I think C.J. Stroud goes into Indy and then kind of puts on a show, kind of solidifies Rookie of the Year in this one. I am pretty confident the Texans are just the better team. The Colts have had a really fun season. They've had an incredible season, honestly, but I just think the Texans win this one on the road.
Yeah, this is one I really wanted to pick against the Texans, but I'm riding with Stroud. I'm on the same wavelength as you are. CJ Stroud, this is kind of going to be his defining rookie moment, and I have no doubt in my mind that under the Saturday Night Lights, under the pressure, that CJ Stroud is just going to outperform Gardner Minshew, because at the end of the day, CJ Stroud is going to be a franchise quarterback. Gardner Minshew is a career backup, a really good one, in that sense. But this game has a lot of implications. It's pretty much whoever wins this game makes it to the playoffs. And so between these two teams right here, it's going to be a battle. And the Colts are going to go out there and they're going to play really hard. But yeah, I think the Texans have played more consistent football all year. I think the Texans are the scarier football team. D'Amico Ryans versus Shane Steichen is an absolute masterclass. Both coaches in their first year as the head coach. And it really is going to be a battle. This one's going to come down to the wire. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm rocking with CJ Stroud, and I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to put on a show.
Yeah, win and in. The winner of this game makes the playoffs. Winner of this game could win the division if the Jaguars lose. So that's pretty crazy. This AFC South is really tight, and yeah, it's going to be an electric game. If the Colts have any chance of winning, Michael Pittman, Zach Moss, Jonathan Taylor are going to have to really eat. The stars are going to have to show out. But yeah, I think we both are on the same wavelength in the sense that the better quarterback usually tends to shine and prevail in these type of close games. And this is going to be a really close competitive game. The Colts have a good home field advantage, but I think you just have to take the Texans. And Stroud is playing some electric football, and this feels like a coming out game for him that's going to put him on the map.
Yeah, no, 100%. This is probably one of my favorite games this week, that we're previewing, and it should be electric. It's really just going to show what these coaches have. I mean, it's going to be a game planning masterclass. I mean, Shane Steichen, the offensive guru, versus D'Amico Ryans, the defensive guru. It's just the storyline on this one is just too good to miss. So everyone tune into this one, because this should be one of the more fun games of the week.
Feels like it's going to be a really high scoring back and forth game. That is definitely the second best game of the week. So tune in. It's going to be really exciting Saturday night, and we'll go on to Sunday. The Falcons are going to go into New Orleans and play the Saints. Big game for the NFC South wild card spot. The Saints are 3.5 point home favorites, and yeah, I've been kind of saying the last few weeks that it's kind of fate that the Falcons need to lose their last few games just to get Arthur Smith fired. It's just kind of fate that he's not really meant to be their head coach next year. So as fate has it, I'm going to pick the Saints. I'm going to probably pick the Saints to win this division after beating the Buccaneers last week, and I think they're definitely heating up at the end of the year. They're not hot or anything. They're not scary, but they are playing solid football. Derek Carr's finally figuring things out, so I'm going to go with the Saints.
Yeah, and again, it's hard because there's some other ones that have to be bold on, but this is not one. I've been the biggest Arthur Smith hater this year, and quite frankly, I just cannot pick the Falcons anymore in good faith with myself and my beliefs towards Arthur Smith and how he runs this team. So yeah, I'm gonna ride with the Saints, who just came off a big win versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this game means more to the Saints. I think the Falcons have mathematically been eliminated, right, from the playoffs. Yes. And so yeah, the Saints definitely have a lot more to play for at this point. Obviously, the Falcons would love nothing more than to knock off the Saints, and to upset their playoff hopes. But at the end of the day, the Saints have more to play for. And that's what it's going to come down to it to me. And the quarterback play for the Falcons has just not been consistent enough. The coaching has not been consistent enough. They just have, you know, always this entire year, the story is just underutilizing their best players. And so I, in good faith, cannot pick them, and I will be riding with the Saints like you are as well.
Yeah, it should be somewhat competitive. The Falcons are, they've got good players. They've got a really good roster. It's just, yeah, a matter of utilizing them, like you said. And yeah, I don't know, maybe Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts blow up and they win this game. That's kind of their only chance. But knowing Arthur Smith, he won't really allow them to do that. In New Orleans, the Saints defense has been playing good. I'm pretty confident that they do come away with this win, kind of a must-need win for the playoffs. Anything else you want to say in this one?
No, not too much to take away from this, but yeah, this is a big game for the Saints, and they kind of have to win this game.
Yeah, speaking of, we'll go on to the next NFC South game because the Buccaneers have that same record as the Saints, and they're going to be going into Carolina to play the Panthers, and the Bucks are 4.5 point road favorites, and it's a Baker revenge game. Don't forget about that. No shot that Baker's going to be losing in a revenge game. So yeah, the Bucks have to win this to have a chance at that division. I believe the Saints have the tiebreaker after beating the Bucks last week. So yeah, this is going to be a must win for the Bucks. The Panthers have, kind of everything to play for, nothing to lose because they don't have their first round pick. So the Bears own their pick, so they're going to go out there and play hard as well. This line isn't really too big. It kind of indicates that the Panthers have been playing better. It's going to be a competitive game, but the Buccaneers have to win this game. Baker's going to be pissed off after last week's shit fest of a performance, and it's a revenge game. So give me Baker in the revenge game.
Yeah, 100%. Another one that I cannot pick against you with this. Yeah, I mean, there's too much on the line for the Buccaneers. Obviously, after a devastating loss last week, they're going to come into this one pissed off. And yeah, the Panthers just are not in that kind of spot to even really consider me, picking them to even knock off the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are the better football team. They proved that this year. They have the better coaching. So everything's just on the Buccaneers side for this one. There's just not too much to take away in these Week 18 games. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, I mean the Bucks should come out of this one pretty handily. I mean, obviously it is a divisional game, so they always play each other tougher. But yeah, I mean this one, the Bucks, this is one they have to go give their lives for because this means a lot. They should have beat the Saints last week, and they gotta have um, gosh, a chip under on their shoulder for this one. They got to go beat them by 40 points.
Yeah, after the stinker last week, I have no doubt in my mind that Baker, Rashad White, Mike Evans, Godwin, they all play pissed off. I do think that Bryce Young and the Panthers have a pretty good game offensively, but yeah, the Buccaneers will come away with this one. So we'll go on to the next game. The Vikings are going to go into Detroit and play the Lions, who are 3.5 point home favorites, and both these teams will be playing their starters. Both have something to play for. The Lions are going to be playing for that number 2 seed. They're also going to be playing in their throwbacks at home. So I'll kind of save you the time. I'll go with my pick again, and I'm going to pick the Lions wearing the throwbacks at home. I'm going to go with the chalk, and I think it's probably going to be Nick Mullins for the Vikings, but I'm still pretty confident that Nick Mullins played against the Lions just a few weeks ago and it's pretty competitive, but it wasn't enough. I think it kind of goes similarly, and the Lions come away with this one in the end. It might be a weird game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the weird vibes on this one, and I'm gonna pick against you because I kind of have to. So give me Nick Mullins and the Vikings. I mean, they played him very competitive. Nick Mullins, if he starts this whole game, he's gonna have no problem slinging it. He might throw 3 interceptions, but I mean, last time they played, he threw for over 400 yards. So Nick Mullins is gonna be airing the ball down the field, and I mean, they were really honestly a play away from beating the Lions last time. So. I think they'll come into this one a little bit more motivated, and I see an upset in this one. I do. I really think the Vikings will knock them off, and I just it's a weird feeling for me. They played them good last time. I'm going to take them this time.
Yeah, you could definitely see it happening. The Lions maybe looking forward to the playoffs and maybe looking ahead to that Rams matchup. They might be a little bit intimidated by that. But yeah, can we talk about Jaren Hall last week? I feel like we haven't really talked about that, and I think we both like Jaren Hall. He's a solid guy, not really too exciting, but he was bad. Like he was just so terrible. He didn't give them a chance. It was terrible.
Yeah, Jared Hall. I think everyone in who was watching this game kind of knew come out the second half that he was probably going to be done. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's definitely a guy that has a little potential under there. I mean, obviously, there's not a ton. I think in his very first game versus the Falcons, where he had that incredible drive, is kind of got what got people excited. Um, and yeah, there is still, it's not his career, but yeah, he was really really bad, and hopefully next time he gets an opportunity with his preseason or something, he kind of bounces back from that.
Yeah, I don't. It didn't seem like the best option to put him out there. It didn't seem like the best timing to put him back in there. I feel like just letting Nick Mullins start that game would have been the best kind of choice in a game that you needed to win, really, for your playoff hopes. So yeah, that was interesting. It's not the end for Jaren Hall, like you said. He'll be better. He seems like a really good career backup to me. And then yeah, anything else you want to say in this game? I expect the Lions secondary to kind of get shredded again.
That's where my gut feeling was happening. I felt like the Vikings would do enough against this Lions secondary, and the Lions have been known to drop stinkers. I mean, they are better than what their record shows, but they'll kind of fall asleep at the wheel more than often this season, and they've kind of let a few of them slip by them. And so yeah, I'm just gonna I have to roll with the Vikings in this one.
All right, watch this game because I got the Lions. I think they're gonna finish the season with some momentum going into the playoffs in the typical Dan Campbell way. And we'll go on to the next game. The Browns are gonna go into Cincinnati and play the Bengals, who are 7-point home favorites. And this is the Ohio Bowl. And Jeff Driscoll is gonna be playing for the Browns in this one. What's that? Their fifth quarterback of the season, and they're 11-5. Pretty incredible. Honestly, it doesn't even really make me want to pick against the Browns if they're playing their backups in this. It makes it like honestly even. With no Joe Burrow in this one, it kind of just feels even. With Jeff Driscoll playing in there. Driscoll isn't really too familiar with the Browns. He's kind of signed like a week or two ago. So yeah, I don't know. This is going to be an interesting game. That 7-point line for the Bengals indicates that they, have their starters playing. They're at home. They're definitely going to be favored in this one. I will pick the Bengals. I don't know if you're going to go against me, but I am going to pick the Bengals. I'm not really confident in it. I could definitely see the Browns just backups being better. But what do you think?
I mean, the Browns' backup quarterbacks all season have been winners, and so I was very excited that you took the Bengals in this one. This is one I felt confident in picking against you, and yeah, I'm going to roll with the Browns because this team is. I mean, obviously, this is another divisional game, but I mean, I think the Browns, even whether they decide to sit everyone or whatever they decide to do in this one, their backups have proved to be good and they proved to be winners. And this team, it doesn't matter who's playing out there, they're just so solid and their depth is so good. And I'm gonna roll with them. I'm gonna roll with them in this one. I'm gonna feel confident about it. But yeah, I think the Browns do have a an opportunity to improve their playoff seeding, right? If they win this one, or am I wrong?
I honestly don't know if I don't think the Browns have like anything to play for at all. But
Other than just a divisional game.
yeah. I don't think they can go up or down. I think they're the fifth seed, no matter what.
Oh, okay. All right, well, that might change my mind a little bit, but I have to still pick the Browns. I have to go against you. This is the picks championship. I'm not gonna be stagnant. I'm not gonna sit back. I'm gonna be bold.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of want to see it happen because I honestly really could see it. The Browns are just a really good football team. Their backups are better than most teams' backups. They're a stacked, loaded football team. I really could see it. I picked the Bengals. I can see Jake Browning, Jamar Chase kind of getting theirs, but at the same time, this Browns defense, even if it's their backups, they're really good. They're really stout, and kind of like the Ravens, you don't really know what players for the Browns defense are playing. Most of their starters would probably be out, but yeah, this is going to be a really close one. Hard to pick, but yeah, I will go with the Bengals. I think Jamar Chase in the end will make a big play, and it'll get it done.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. I mean, both these teams don't like each other. A little bit of a rival week between these two, and it should be close. Yeah, the Bengals are obviously -7, but I'm not gonna be surprised. I'm not gonna be surprised if my Browns go out there and they ruin the Bengals playoff hopes.
Yeah, they're also like the best coach team in the NFL right now, so they definitely could. It'll be a close one, and go on to the next one. The Jets are going to go into New England and play the Patriots, who are 2-point home favorites. And I don't think we need to talk about this one for too long. It's going to be Simeon versus Zappy. Simeon's a little bit more competent, so the Jets, I'm a little bit more competent or confident in picking the Jets now than I was, a few weeks ago. The Jets defense is solid. I think I'm pretty confident that Zappy will have problems against the Jets defense. Zappy's been playing decent football, but it just seems like good defenses are what gets him. So I'll go to my pick out of the way. I'll pick the Jets. I think Trevor Siemian gets, just enough done. I think Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson have a good day, their entire offense. And I just think the Jets defense is a little bit better than the Patriots.
Yeah, this is I'm gonna pick the Jets too. This will be the first time the Jets will beat the Patriots since December 27th, 2015. So it's been since 2015 since the Jets have beat the Patriots, but this will be the week that it happens. Um, and yeah, I think the Patriots, quite frankly, can't afford to win. Or they kind of get themselves out of that Drake May, Caleb Williams sweepstake at this point. So there's a lot more on the line in this one for the Patriots losing than there is anything else. And so, who knows? Who knows? Maybe Belichick might surprise us and try a little harder in this one, but in my personal opinion, for the tank, there's too much on the line, and it'll be the first time the Jets finally beat the Patriots since 2015, which is just wild to say considering it's 2024 right now and they're in the same division. They play each other twice a year.
Yeah, Trevor Simeon's going to be the first one to break that streak. Trevor Simeon will be the Jet to do it. You love to see it. And yeah, I don't know. For the Patriots, it's like how could you win this game? I can't believe they're favored. This line's a little bit surprising to me. I just have to pick against them just because I need them to get Drake May. I don't know. I mean, it is a weird dynamic too because Bill Belichick won't be their coach. So, like we say, he wants to screw them over. He wants to try and win, but I just think in the end, Robert Kraft will get his wish and the Patriots will lose and get Drake May.
Yeah, 100%. Too much on the line for them to lose. So really cannot afford to win at this moment for the Patriots.
All right. Expect a defensive battle in this one, and we'll get on to the next one. AFC South matchup. The Jaguars are going to go into Tennessee and play the Titans. The Jags are 3.5 point road favorites, and you got Trevor versus I don't know who the Titans quarterback is. We never know. Will Levis gets hurt every week at this point. I'm going to be completely honest. I just realized that he got hurt again last week, so I honestly don't know if he's out there. So I don't think it matters. The Jaguars have to win this game. They have a chance to miss the playoffs, lose the division if they lose this game. The Titans are playing bad football. Their offensive line itself will lose this game. So I'll go with the Jaguars. And maybe a different boost is Christian Kirk might be back. That could be a huge boost for the Jags because they've looked like the Panthers ever since Christian Kirk has gone out with injury. So I think that would be a very big boost heading into the playoffs. I think the Jags are a good enough team. I think they're just too good to be playing like how they are. So I'm confident that they gain some momentum going into the playoffs and they get a pretty good W here.
Yeah, not too much to really take away from this one. It should be the Jags pretty handedly. And they better show us something. They really don't have a choice. They better impress us in this win is kind of my takeaway. And Trevor, you better, he's gotta show us why they belong in the playoffs. I feel like they're the most inconsistent team probably heading into the playoffs that have had the most ups and downs, but this is a real get right game and get right moving into the playoffs. So yeah, the Jags should handle this one pretty easy, and Christian Kirk back should be a major boost. But this should be a pretty easy game for them.
Yeah, I don't think there's really too much to say. You can really honestly expect every single Jags option to eat. I think Ingram, ETN, if Kirk's back, really, I just think the Jags kind of go off in this one. I think the Titans offensive line kind of shows them why they need to attack it so badly in the offseason. And yeah, I just feel like it's a perfect get right game, like you said. The Jags will probably win the division with this one, and we'll get on to the next one. The Bears are going to go into Green Bay and play the Packers, who are 3 point favorites, and this might be the third most interesting game of the week. This one right here, I'm almost positive we will split on this one, and it's going to be a great game. The Packers are the 3 point home favorites, and that line itself honestly feels generous. It feels like this should just be a complete wash. These two teams are kind of both playing better here at the end of the season. They're kind of getting hot. These offenses are getting hot, especially Jordan Love, Justin Fields playing some really, really good football. Justin Fields has everything in the world to prove this week. He's playing for his job. He's playing for his home in Chicago. So it's going to be a great one. I'm really excited. I'll let you break it down before I pick.
Easy pick for me. Give me Justin Fields. This is my quarterback for the Bears. I want him personally to stay put. This is Marvin Harrison Jr. season for me. And Fields will go out there. And I honestly think Fields has been playing a lot hotter football than I mean Jordan Love's been playing good football. It's a little bit off and on and inconsistent, but Justin Fields these last few weeks has really been electric and he's really been doing it through the air and on the ground. I mean, he's finally. I feel like they're finally starting to figure out how to play Justin Fields right. I feel like they figured it out at the end of last season and getting him involved in on the run because I mean that's the kind of quarterback Justin Fields is. He's incredible when he's scrambling, when he's designed runs, and they thrive with that. And honestly, this Bears defense is playing really good. This game might mean more for the Packers, but I think it means ultimately the most to Justin Fields. And I think Justin Fields is going to go out there and play for his life, like I've said every week. And I have no doubt that he'll get this one done.
Yeah, and I did a bad job of setting this game up. This is a win and you're in game for the Packers, and this is a completely spoil game for the Bears. They aren't really playing for much. They have their pick, but it's around pick 10, and they own the Panthers' number one overall pick. So the Bears are really just trying to spoil the Packers season, kind of like the Lions did for the Packers last year. Would be kind of poetic if a NFC North team did it to the Packers again, but I am going to pick the Packers. I do think at home they get it done. They've been very, very scarily inconsistent, like you said. But after what I saw last week, I hope that Jordan Love can continue that confidence and he had a perfect game. So hopefully he can carry that into this one. I think the Packers get it done. It's going to be a really close game. It's going to be high scoring as hell because Joe Barry doesn't know how to coach a defense and Jordan Love's been playing great. So I do think even though the Bears defense has been good, I think the Packers score. It's going to be a really good one, back and forth, hard to pick. I'll pick the Packers because they have to win, and I'm a big Jordan Love guy, and I think the Packers will make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be super. This would be a pretty fun one. The Bears are gonna go out there and gonna play hard. The Packers are gonna play obviously incredibly hard because this is a win and in type game. But nothing sweeter for the Bears than to show that Justin Fields is a franchise quarterback and to spoil the Packers season. So let's go with that. I'll be bold. I'll be a little bit more bold in this one, and yeah, I'm gonna ride with the Bears.
I can totally see it. How exciting would that be? DJ Moore and Justin Fields just play black backyard football in this one and upset the Packers season, and then they go and draft Marvin Harrison and add to that excitement. That'd be really exciting for the Bears. It's gonna be an exciting game for both teams, and we'll get on to the next one. The Seahawks are gonna go into Arizona and play the Cardinals. The Seahawks are 2.5 point road favorites, and in this NFC West matchup, I'm pretty confident that the Seahawks will win. They have to, like kind of the theme here. They have to win to get in. Cardinals don't really have too much to play for other than losing, so they get a higher pick. So, the Cardinals have been playing really competitive. I will say that. I don't want to disrespect them. They just went into Philly and kind of beat the Eagles' ass. So I'm very confident that they do play very competitive in this one. Jonathan Gannon's a great coach. That 2.5 point line is scary, but I'm going to pick the Seahawks in this one. It's going to be a close one. Honestly, I'll lock this in as my squeaker of the week because the Cardinals are so competitive, but I'm going to go with Geno Seahawks.
Yeah, I just want to say I did watch that video of the Cardinals GM that you sent me, absolutely tweaking out on the sideline. I don't blame him. I would be doing the same thing. Um, no matter what they did to the Eagles hurt them in the end. It was kind of like a we won, but at what cost?
Yep.
And the GM who is in charge of, the draft and everything is like, oh my God, what just happened? Um, that's our Marvin Harrison Jr. pick, or that's our pick that we can accumulate a ton of picks because somebody's going to trade up and take one of the quarterbacks. And so that was absolutely brutal. I feel his pain. I understand why he was tweaking on the sideline. But it was a hell of a win for the Cardinals nonetheless. And they really went out there and played awesome football. And James Conner looked fantastic. And Kyler Murray is just really, really playing awesome football too. But yeah, this one I 100% agree. I will pick the Seahawks, but like you said, the squeakiest way to win, that's probably what's going to happen. It's going to be a real nail biter, But yeah, I mean, it's a win and in type of scenario. And the Seahawks, I think, will ultimately get it done.
Yeah, I think they just have the better team. They have the better roster right now, so you have to lean that way. The Cardinals are going to be right there, though. It's going to be a close one. I think Geno makes a big play in the end with DK, Jackson Smith, and Jigba Lockett, one of these insane receivers. So, fun NFC West matchup, and we'll go on to the next one, AFC West matchup. The Chiefs are going to go into LA and play the Chargers, who are 3.5 point home favorites because there's no Mahomes in this one. So. That's interesting to me. There's no Herbert in this one either. So if it's backup on backup, I guess the Chargers still have a lot of starters playing, but I don't know. I feel like that's an interesting line for me, even without Mahomes. I'll get my pick out of the way. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs backups more than the Chargers, but I'll let you talk about this one.
Yeah, they're trying to ruin our tank is what it feels like. So kind of grinds my gears a little bit. But yeah, I'm still not picking the Chargers. I think Matt Moore and the Chiefs. Yeah, it is Matt Moore, right? I'm not just saying a random name.
I don't think it's Matt Moore, honestly. Let me look real quick.
Who's the I guess I've kind of forgotten. You don't really ever hear about
It's
the Chiefs.
always a veteran. Let me look. It might be Matt Moore, and I'm tweaking. I think it's Blaine Gabbert. Yeah, it's Blaine Gabbert starting.
Oh, Blaine Gabbert. That's kind of interesting. I haven't heard that name for a while.
Super
Well,
Bowl champion Blaine Gabbert.
put some respect on that name, baby. Um, Gosh, that's kind of interesting. If it was Matt Moore, I'd have felt a little bit more confident. You're picking the Chiefs, eh? I don't want to do it, but I will. I don't want them to win, but I'll go with the Chargers. It seems like, yeah, obviously the Chiefs are benching their starters. They got nothing to play for. I can kind of see the Chargers winning some stupid way by a field goal and then being all excited and hyping up, you know, Gift Smith for his first win, and Easton Stick's first win. So I could kind of see some, even though it's the worst possible case scenario and probably dropping to like 8 or 9 in the draft, and it pains me to say it, but I think the Chargers will win. And oh, just a stab right in the heart right there. That's not what I want to see. I wish Mahomes was playing this game. I wish they lost last week, and I wish this game meant something to them. But yeah, I can kind of see the storyline and Gift Smith getting his first win in week 18 and then feeling all excited. So yeah, I guess I'll go with the Chargers.
Yeah, that's why I was so confident in the Chiefs, is because there's no way the Chargers can win this game. But I need them to get a higher pick. I need them to secure Brock Bowers. So that I think the Chiefs have to win this game. The Chargers have to lose.
I know it pains. It's painful.
Something kind of funny, but Travis Kelce has 984 yards. So it looks like he's going to be playing until he gets 16 more yards till he breaks 1,000 yards. So that's kind of funny. It looks like Travis Kelce might be the only starter out there for the Chiefs. If Rashee Rice is out there, he's obviously going to ball. But yeah, I'm not confident in it, honestly, thinking about it, but I am just going to pick the Chiefs. I just think that the Chargers would be stupid to win. So,
I hope you're right. I honestly hope you're right. I think it would be quite reckless to win. And I could see Gift Smith and those guys going out there really hard and trying. But I hope you're right in this one.
all right, well, it's going to be a fun AFC West matchup. We'll go on to the next AFC West matchup. The Broncos are going to go into Vegas and play the Raiders, who are 3 point home favorites. It's Stidham versus Aiden O'Connell. It's the Jarrett Stidham revenge game as well. So should be a fun one. The Raiders have been playing really hard lately. They are coming off a loss, a kind of unfortunate loss. If they would have won against the Colts, they would have had a chance to make the playoffs in this game, actually. So that is unfortunate, but you have to commend what Antonio Pierce was doing with this team, how he had them playing, how this defense has been playing lately. So on the other side, the Broncos are kind of on a turmoil the last few weeks. They're just a kind of dumpster fire disaster. It was looking like they were a real playoff hopeful team, and it turned around really, really fast after losing to the Patriots, and it's kind of just a disaster right now. Not really playing as motivated. Jarrett Stidham's playing just really boring dink and dunk football. So I will go with the Raiders at home in this one. I think Antonio Pierce has to win. I'm just going to pick the Raiders for Antonio Pierce because I think he 100% deserves to be their head coach next year. So I will go with the Raiders. I think they're going to play really hard for Antonio at home. I think Zamir White has a really good game. I just think the Raiders have the Broncos number and they get the win.
Yeah, I was originally going to pick the Raiders until I really just honestly changed my mind on the spot. Um, I kind of think this is going to be a pride game between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson and with Jared Stidham, I feel like Sean Payton will want to win this game. Just to prove they can win and they can just do everything they can without Russell Wilson to kind of prove that to the ownership and everything. Because I think ultimately, the decision of Russell Wilson not being the Broncos quarterback is Sean Payton's choice, 100%. I mean, I think the GM wanted him. I think the owners were fine with him, but I don't think Sean Payton liked him at all. And so I think Sean Payton's going to win these last two games or last few games um, without Russell Wilson just to like try and prove his point. And then I get on the other side, Antonio Pierce is honestly playing for his job at this point to play for his resume. But I have a weird gut feeling that this is more pride and everything for for Sean Payton. I feel like the Broncos are going to go out here, and I feel like the Broncos defense is going to make Aiden O'Connell uncomfortable enough to just not put up a lot of points. And I think Jared Stidham's dink and dunk might just be enough if they score, 14 points, I think, and they minimize the turnovers against the Raiders. 'Cause, I mean, it's really the Raiders defense. It's going to be playing really hard, and they're kind of what's won them, a lot of these games these past few weeks is just their defense creating turnovers. But I think Jared Stidham will play safe enough football, and I think Aiden O'Connell will be, have enough pressure in his face, and I think Vance Joseph will have a good game plan just to make him uncomfortable enough for the Broncos to pull this one out.
Yeah, you did honestly bring up a lot of good points. The Broncos do have a lot of pride, even though they're out of things. Like this guy right here, Justin Simmons is going to be playing really hard. Patrick Surtain's going to be playing hard. So yeah, you do bring up a good point. Aiden O'Connell probably does struggle in this one. I could see Sean Payton playing really hard, trying really hard to prove a point. So yeah, this is going to be a good, divisional AFC West battle. It always is between these two teams. It's going to be a close, lower scoring game, and yeah, I'm excited for it. I'll just go with the Raiders, though. I think they win on like a Jack Jones pick six or something crazy.
Should be an interesting game. And nothing, no playoff implications here. But it should be quite interesting.
Yeah, both playing for kind of 2024 reasons, but we'll go on to the next one. The Rams are going to go into San Fran and play the Niners, who are 4-point favorites, and this one is Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold. I honestly can expect a pretty good matchup at this one. I think both will play pretty good. I think Carson Wentz goes into San Fran and actually kind of surprises a lot of people. Plays pretty good because he's definitely a top 64 quarterback in the NFL. He's definitely a good backup quarterback, and I think a lot of teams kind of missed out on signing a guy like Carson Wentz, and I think he's going to prove that this week. Puka Nacua will be playing. It seems like most of the Rams will be benched in this one, but Puka Nacua because he needs to shatter all the rookie records. He's kind of up there with the Randy Moss, Justin Jefferson rookie record. So why wouldn't you put Puka Nacua out there? He's had an incredible rookie season, so let him go try to shatter as much records as he can. And then, yeah, for the Niners, Debo said that they're going to be playing as many starters as possible. Obviously, people like Purdy, CMC, even Kittle, you probably bench, but it seems like Ayuk and Debo might play. They could still, set a good tone. For that Niners team, similarly to the Ravens, like I said, you don't want to have 2 weeks off going into that second round of the playoffs. You don't want to have a bye week end, sit your starters week 18. So I do think they do play a decent amount of players in this one against the Rams. And it's going to be, I don't know how to pick in this one. I think both will be playing really hard, both backup quarterbacks. The Rams are benching more players than the Niners total, but the Niners are benching more star players. So this one's going to be really tough. I'm going to pick the Niners by 1 point at home, like just in a really, really tight, weird game, but it could go either way easily.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Rams just because they're already playing with backups this whole season. Somehow they're 9-7. I think they'll be a 10-win team this year. And I think the 49ers don't really care, obviously. Um, and the Rams, they proved that all these late round picks, undrafted guys are quality starters, and that's kind of what they've been playing with all season. So um, I honestly think they'll pull this one off. Just a gut feeling in this one. Not too much I can really take away or give you insight on, but I think the Rams backups should get it done. With whoever they end up benching. I think it'll. I don't really think it matters. I think Sean McVay will have his backups playing really well.
These week eight, I'm kind of laughing because these week 18 games scare me so much because they're so weird. You already know that all these games are going to end up being weird and going how we don't think. So you picking the opposite of me on all these games really scares me. I really hate it. I don't want to lose picks because of Week 18, though, and you can just because this is going to be a disaster. I can already see it. But yeah, I do think that the Rams will go in there. You're picking Carson Wentz to go in there and play hard. It's going to be a really fun one. It's going to be very competitive. I'll go with the Niners. I do think they play some starters, so I'm just going to hang on to that hope and ride with the Niners in this NFC West matchup, and we'll go on to the next game. The Eagles are going to go into New York and play the Giants. The Eagles are 5-point road favorites, and these two played a pretty competitive game 2 weeks ago. The Giants kind of came back and made it really competitive with Tyrod. So this one will be Tyrod again. So I do expect it to not really be a blowout. The Eagles aren't really blowing teams out. It feels like a get right game for them, but we've said that for like the last month and they haven't gotten right. And the Eagles are kind of on the downfall. They're kind of the talk of the town right now. Everyone's finding their flaws. Everyone's trying to figure out what's going wrong for the Eagles, what the real problem is. But yeah, I don't know what the problem is, and I'm not here for that. I'm just here to tell you that they're going to win this game. They have to have a chance at the number two seed, and they could win their division if the Cowboys somehow lost. So I am going to pick the Eagles to win this game, not in a sexy fashion or anything. I think it'll be a kind of an ugly game.
Yeah, I mean, I would have told you last week, and I think I did last week was their get right game, but this has to be their get right game. They really don't have another option. So I will agree with you on this one. I know it's stressing you out, picking everyone against you, but yeah, this feels like it's kind of their last chance to get right, and they have no other option. But Nick Sirianni's got to go out there and he's got to lead his team to a victory, and they have to honestly put up a somewhat of a a decent win. They have to make us have a little bit of confidence in them going into the playoffs because I mean it's been looking pretty bad the last 5 6 weeks honestly for this team. So yeah, they got to get right and they got to prove something this game. So yeah, I'll go with the Eagles. So the Giants at this point losing gives them a better draft pick and we'll see whether they're in the market for a quarterback in this pretty exciting young quarterback class.
Yeah, they just need the Eagles need to carry momentum into the playoffs. They need it bad. Even if the Cowboys won, they just need that momentum. And we'll actually go on to the next game because it's another NFC East matchup. And if the Cowboys were to somehow lose this game, the Eagles would be the number two seed and win the division. And the Cowboys would move down to the fifth seed, and vice versa. If the Eagles were to, or I guess the Cowboys will probably win. So the Cowboys will be the number two seed, and the Eagles will be the number five seed. But yeah, that's just a crazy switch. And the Cowboys are going to go into Washington and play the Commanders. The Cowboys are 13-point road favorites because of what I just said. They have to play hard. They have to win this game to win the division and secure that number two seed. So I'll get my pick out of the way really quickly. It's going to be the Cowboys. They have to win. They're playing really good football. CD and Dak are have a lot to prove. I do think that they're a better football team than the Eagles. They deserve to win this division, so I am going to go with the Cowboys. And we don't even know if it's Jacoby Brissett or Sam Howell. I would assume they actually roll with Sam Howell. Thinking about it more, the graphics guy messed up. I think Sam Howell probably is the move for Week 18 just to give him one more shot because he's probably not your quarterback next year. But either way, I put Brissett on this graphic because bottom line is the Commanders need to look for a new quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. And my takeaway from this one is it's kind of been all year. The Cowboys beat bad teams by a lot. Um, so this might be my Michael Myers Bloody Murder game of the week. Um, the Cowboys, that's what they like to do. When they're a dominant team, they'll go in there and they'll dominate other football teams. And they are a far superior team, and their defense is going to go in there. And if Sam Howell is the quarterback, I feel bad for Sam Howell because he's going to get the piss beat out of him. And yeah, it's not too much to take away, but the Cowboys beat bad teams, and that's why this line is that Cowboys minus 13. So yeah, if that doesn't tell you something, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, biggest line of the week. We'll lock in our Michael Myers bloody murder game of the week. Not too bold or anything, but yeah, I think CD and Dak just take advantage of the Commanders' defense and especially secondary, and they get it taken care of pretty easily. Anything else you want to say in this game? I don't really think there's any other takeaways other than the Eagles are going to be the fifth seed, sadly.
It's just week 18, man. It's just week 18. That's my
Crazy.
takeaway. A really really exciting week, really really fun week.
weird week. We're getting a Carson Wentz and Jacoby Brissett, Sam Howell analysis. It's a crazy week in the NFL, but we'll go on to the last game of the week because it's the by far the best game, the biggest game. It's a huge one. The Bills are going to go into Miami, play the Dolphins on Sunday Night Football. The Bills are actually 3-point road favorites in this one, and the winner gets the number two seed in the AFC. They're going to jump the Chiefs no matter who wins this game, and the winner will win the AFC North as well. So this is a huge game. It's for the division, for the number two seed. You got Josh Allen versus Tua. Both are playing really good football this year. Both are kind of in the top five of the MVP race still. So it's going to be an electric matchup. We could honestly talk about it all day. Two juggernaut offenses. Josh Allen. This is like the one game we don't have to be scared off about talking about worrying about backups playing and weird implications because this is just both of the teams are going to put their best squad out there and they're just gonna battle and it's gonna be a fun battle. I really am excited. I still don't know who to pick.
Yeah, this is gonna be an exciting one, honestly. Yeah, this kind of has a lot at stake. It's kind of who's gonna be the more dominant football team in this division. I know the Dolphins got their feelings hurt last time they played the Bills, and the Bills kind of gave them the business, and it was kind of no problem. Josh Allen really played well against them. But it's week 18, man. And originally I thought I was gonna go with the Bills, but I'm gonna go with the Dolphins, and I'm gonna feel confident in that. I think the Dolphins should go in here. I think they're coming off of a pretty devastating game last week and where they lost Bradley Chubb in the final minutes versus the Ravens, and they're kind of feeling depleted. So I think Mike McDaniels has to come out here. He's got to have a good game plan. He's got to get his guys motivated. He's got to get them excited. Um, they got to win. I mean, if they were to lose two games in a row like this to two good football teams, I think it'd be very, very depleting to them. I mean, they're a playoff football team no matter what. But if they're rolling in here with their starters, they got to prove something. The Dolphins got to prove something. They got to prove they can win good teams. They can beat them consistently. And they just got to prove something after that horrendous loss to the Ravens. And I mean, I know Dolphins fans felt so depleted after that, but Mike McDaniel's got to come in here, his head on fire. He's got to have some crazy game plan. He's got to figure out how to, get Tyreek the ball every play down the field and just run up the scoreboard on the Bills and see if they can't come out of this one with a win.
So when I was setting this game up, I completely forgot to mention one thing, and that's kind of why the Bills are favored, other than them kind of having the Dolphins number, and that is the Bills have a really high chance of missing the playoffs if they lose this game. So they could go from having the two seed to missing the playoffs, and that's how like crazy the AFC is, how big this game is. Like that is just crazy to me how that's even possible. So
Just
I,
how's that even a scenario? That's crazy. I thought they're kind of locked in. That's wild. I'm not changing my pick, but I guess
I
is there enough 9-win teams that would have the strength of schedule and all the things over them?
Yeah, I think it was like more likely than not if they lose this game because of tiebreakers, they're out of the playoffs. Unless
Wow.
like all the teams lose. But yeah, there's the Steelers, Texans, Colts, Jaguars, all of 9 wins. And
Oh,
yeah. So and I
okay.
think yeah, that's
And are
pretty
they the
cool.
last on that if they lose?
Yeah, I think
Oh my,
that they're at least not high up on the priority. And I know that. So I think that they like have to win this game. Isn't that crazy?
wow, that'd be crazy if we were talking about the Bills not in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I
Wow.
mean they were at that spot like we were, in our takeaway episodes or whatever, like 6 weeks ago, we were kind of thinking that the Bills were going to miss the playoffs. They were looking pretty bad in the mid-season mark. So it's crazy how they've rejuvenated themselves and got themselves back to this position, and they really really have set themselves up for a game that they have to win on the road, nighttime game in Miami. It's a huge one, man.
It's crazy. Yeah. So you have the Bills right now in the sixth spot at 10-6, and then yeah, Colts, Texans, Steelers. Yeah, all with 9 wins. And so, wow, that's crazy. But the Texans and the Colts
Play
play
each
each
other.
other. And then the Steelers play the Ravens. So if the Steelers win, and then okay, wait, does that make any? I guess I'm kind of confused.
So the Browns have the fifth seed locked up, no matter what.
Yes. So if the
And
Browns,
then, so if the Bills were to lose, they would be 10-7. If the Jaguars won, they'd be 10-7. So it would be those three. And then the winner of the Colts and Texans would be 10-7. And then the Steelers would win. They're 10-7. And the Bills are, I think, are low down on that priority. So I think they would be the odd team out. behind the Steelers. I think the Steelers have the highest priority, like due to tiebreakers. So I think the Steelers are almost a lock if they win, which is crazy too. Like another crazy thing is the Steelers could make the playoffs if they lose. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's actually kind of wild.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
AFC is just a trip. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
they still Steelers at 9 and 7 still have a 16% chance if they lose, where the Colts have a 1% chance if they lose. And they have the same record. Yeah, but yeah, even though the Colts are in over the Steelers right now with the same record. So it must be how the strength of schedule and everything plays out for who gets the priority. That's kind of wild. This is interesting with tiebreakers and everything.
Yeah, this is gonna be like I said, week 18 is a weird week. It's gonna be really weird. It's gonna be interesting to see who gets these last few wild card spots. Anything else you want to say in this big game? I expect. I
Kind of
mean,
feels like a must win for both teams I mean, it kind of feels like the Dolphins have to just prove something. And obviously the Bills pretty much have to win to make the playoffs. So this is gonna be a wild game. I didn't realize that this much implications are on the line.
yeah, I would take everyone's overs on this one. It's going to be an offensive showdown. I think Josh Allen's going to be throwing some lasers in Miami. In this one, I think Tua will be having a great connection with Tyreek in this one. I'm not sure if Waddle's playing, but yeah, it's just going to be such a fun game. I can't wait. Two juggernauts on it. A lot of AFC wildcard implications. And yeah, really excited to see what teams make the playoffs. We'll have our playoff pick'em episode next week. But yeah, really fun. Best of luck to you to see who wins pick champ. Anything else you want to say? Any extra hot takes or anything?
Bills might not make the playoffs. Bills won't make the playoffs. That's my hot take right there. That's fresh on my mind. This should tune into this game. There's a couple exciting. It's week 18. It's crazy. A lot of weird things can happen. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for this week. Even though there's a lot of meaningless games, there's still a lot of games with a lot of meaning heading into the playoffs. So it should be a fun last week of the regular season. And I'm excited for playoffs. I'm excited for off season. A lot of fun content to come.
Yep, Stores has got the Dolphins beating the Bills, knocking them out of the playoffs. He's got Trevor Siemian beating the Patriots for the first time since 2015 for the Jets. So some hot takes over there by Stores, and yeah, really fun episode. Crazy, we're on the last week of the regular season. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe if you liked. Check out some of our draft content if you haven't. And yeah, peace.
Peace.